So, oh boy, see now I can't see your beautiful faces. Can we bring that down a little bit? Otherwise it looks like I'm speaking into the abyss. And that's a little, oh, look at that. You're all so pretty. You're all so beautiful and good smelling, kind and generous. I have no idea what I'm saying up here. When I was spending my 10 years as an undergrad in college, I wrote for the campus paper, and I wrote what was originally an advice column, but very quickly turned into a humor column. Because I realized that if somebody writes in asking for advice, like you write in and you ask me for advice, and then I give you some advice, you might be interested, but you're probably not going to be really interested because nobody likes good advice. Everybody wants an excuse to behave badly, and do the things you want to do, not the things you know you should do. So if you write into me and I give you some advice, maybe you care, and maybe a few other kind of grubby, voyeuristic people might like reading about her sordid life, but that's it. Not to cast aspersions on you Ann Landers junkies out there, but if you write in and ask for advice and I make fun of you, suddenly everyone is really interested. And it occurred to me that statistically that was much better writing. So that's what I did for the next 10 years. And I learned a lot about writing back then doing this column. I learned to write to a deadline. Actually, I didn't really learn that very well. And actually, that's what I really learned, is I learned that, I could really push that deadline back and they wouldn't print the paper with a big gap in it. So I learned the wrong lesson there, but it's a lesson of sorts. And I wrote about subjects like, why doesn't my boyfriend ever call me? Why can't I have pets in the dorms? What are better, what's better, fast zombies or slow zombies? And I brought some of those columns with me today because you'll probably never see them anywhere else. Because some of them are pretty awful. Or I also, on the blog, sometimes I read about, I write about whatever it is that I'm thinking at the moment. And lately it tends to be my kids a lot. I've got a couple of young kids. It's a new experience for me, and it's kind of interesting, like how they acquire language, see, that makes it sound very sophisticated. That's not what I write about in the blog at all. What I write about in the blog, although I don't know if I've actually done this yet, like boobs. I write about boobs. That's, who's got kids? Anyone here? Actually, I can't see you now, so now I gotta do the woo. See, actually, I can't quantify that. It might have been just two really excited people. Oh, the metrics of this is a wreck. I'm gonna talk about boobs anyway, I don't care. But not the way that you're probably thinking, because when you have kids in the house, I used to think boobs were really great. In college or in high school, I'm a guy and I'm like, hey, boobs, I thought they were great. And then you have kids and you realize that boobs are really, really great. It's like they're magical. They're seriously magical. And I end up, I'm gonna cop to it. This is something I normally don't talk about on stage, but because I'm really sleep deprived, I'm gonna go for it. I fuck around with my kids all the time. We've got a weird cultural thing. Growing up, I always thought, God, I don't really want to have kids. I'm not responsible enough. I'm not grown up enough. I couldn't provide them with a role model or whatever. And I kind of thought, I'm gonna live my whole life until I've done everything I want to do, and then I'll have kids. And then 18 years later, I get my life back, and I can do some other things then. And And then I met one of my girlfriends, because my girlfriend had been campaigning for babies for years, and she brought over one of her nieces, and it was this like happy, smiling, giggling pink blob. And it was just delightful. It would just look at you and be like, you know, just so happy to be around, looking at everything. And I didn't know that babies did that. I'd kind of been brainwashed somehow into believing that babies just like cried and shit constantly, like for 18 years, and then they go to college, and you're like, God, now I can watch my own TV shows again. But this baby showed up, and he was just happy all the time, and I thought, you know, is something wrong with this baby? And Sarah's like, this is a baby's default state, it's just happy. You know, what do they have to be pissed off about? And so we have kids, and it's great. But I asked a couple of the guys I'm traveling with, I'm like, so do you guys, you know, when your kids were littler, you just screw around with them a lot? And they're like, oh, what do you mean? I'm like, well, do you ever pretend you're gonna take the boobs away from them? And I do pretend. It was like when my oldest boy was very young. And the thing is, you might think that this is a little juvenile, and it is, me talking about boobs. But it's juvenile in the most appropriate way, because babies, that's all they can do. That's all they can do is nurse. It's their core skill set, you know? It's the only skill they can grind. They can't roll over, they can't like focus their eyes at first, but they can nurse. And so my older boy was about 4 months old, and he'd gotten to the point where he could kind of like scoot around and like hunt for the boob. You know, if it was like this far away, he could get to it. And this was like a huge accomplishment, because babies are so useless. I mean, they're really, really useless. You're like, how did we ever survive in the wild? But, you know, so he gets hungry and he goes, nah, nah, nah. And that means nurse. You know, it means I want the boob. And he sees it, and he kind of climbs, and he kind of gets on mom, and he's kind of going towards it. And I watch him, and he's going for the boob, and he's kind of getting closer. And I make eye contact with him, and he's getting there, and I go, I get it before he does, and he's like, almost about there, ha-ha, and I'm right on the boob. But the thing is, my timing was perfect. This is like, if I could replicate that on stage here, if I had a video of it, you would have to admit, like, this was the most perfect, comedically timed boob swoop ever, you know? And the thing is, he was too young to get the joke. I was so disappointed. You know, he just looked at me like, what the fuck? I was kidnapped. That's like, what the fuck? And he couldn't even be angry. He was like, you're in my way. And I'll never get the timing that good again. But, you know, and I would keep joking. I kept doing that joke until he got old enough to appreciate it. And then I kept doing it because it was really funny. He'd get pissed or he'd laugh. Now he has a little brother who is just doing some language acquisition. He's about 2, and so I tease the new baby. I'm like, I've got the best joke. I've got a great baby joke. He's gonna get this. Because again, like, what does he care about in all the world? It's just the boob, you know? I'm really playing to that audience, right? And it just happens that I also have kind of an interest in the boob too. That makes me an informed, you know, party in terms of this humor. And so I expected the new baby to react the way the old baby did, and he didn't. You know, I was going, hey cutie, I'm gonna get the boob. and And then he was there. He's watching me. I'm gonna get the boob. And he grabs the other one and he kind of like, here you go. I'm like, wow, that's like that's really polite. Because he doesn't want him a little bit, like that's really important to him, and he was willing to give me the spare boob. Now sometimes he's not in that mood. I did it when company was over because how can I not share this great shtick we have? So he's nursing and I go, hey, cutie, that's daddy's boob. And he's nursing and he's like, and he's like, don't fucking start anything, man. There are people here. What we do in our own time is whatever, but like I don't want word to get out. None of the babies will respect me. So I can't remember why I started talking about that. Some stories are just their own reward, I guess.